Good morning, and thank you for joining me at my February press briefing. Today we're here at the Broadmoor, a world-class renowned destination for several memorable Colorado Springs events. And I'd like to thank Jack Demoli and Anna Alba and the team for hosting us. Now, while it doesn't feel like it when you look outside, you better believe that spring is around the corner and summer will be here before you know it. Today, I'll be showcasing a few upcoming events that are not only exciting and engaging, but also play a key role in boosting Colorado Springs' local economy. These events generate essential sales tax revenues to help fund vital city services such as public safety, our public infrastructure, and our public parks. The Broadmoor is an important partner and venue for several of these upcoming events. I'm also joined by representatives from Sports Corp and Visit COS, who provide critical leadership in attracting a wide range of events and opportunities in our great city. In 2024, Visit Colorado Springs estimated an economic impact of over $80 million from sports and special events. That's a big deal. And Sports Corp reported that in the 2024 report that we welcome 46,000 athletes and 366,000 spectators, equating to nearly 99,000 room nights. These are impressive numbers, and in 2025, we aim to even go bigger. I will use the rest of my speech to highlight 5 key events that you don't want to miss. The first one is Space Symposium. Every year since 1984, the Broadmoor has hosted the Space Symposium. This event is widely known as the premier forum for U.S. space policy and programs, and it's a must-see, a must-attend event by all leaders and organizations that are involved in the space ecosystem. Another way to think about the magnitude and the impact of this event is we often refer to our local South by Southwest event. From April 7th to the 10th, over 12,000 people from more than 40 countries are expected to attend the 50th anniversary of the Space Symposium. The exhibit hall is once again sold out with 242 exhibitors set to showcase space-related hardware, program, and technologies. This event further solidifies the city's identity as the home of space, yes, and the home of U.S. Space Command, and we expect Space Symposium to generate tens of millions of dollars for our community, and we look forward to welcoming thousands of guests and vendors to our restaurants, our small businesses, and our many attractions. A related event I attended last week here at the Broadmoor is the Rocky Mountain Cyberspace Symposium. There were 3,400 attendees who traveled from 32 different states and Germany and Canada. And we're celebrating the impact of this event to include $500,000 into our local economy to invest in STEM-related grants and the University of Colorado Springs scholarships. Number 2, the U.S. Senior Open. Sports tourism, as you know, our city has a strong connection to sports tourism continues to be a major driver of growth and community engagement. The United States Golf Association chose Colorado Springs to host the U.S. Senior Open. As you can see, I am all smiles. It's a big deal. The Broadmoor will host this event from June 23rd to 29th. 100,000 plus spectators will watch 156 professional and amateur golfers compete for the championship title. The U.S. Senior Open is supported by more than 1,600 volunteers from 42 states, and the estimated impact of this event is about $24 million. There will also be a national coverage of all 4 rounds on NBC, Golf Channel, and Peacock. So let's go. Number 3. The United States Olympic and Paralympic Hall of Fame induction and festival. In July, the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee and the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Museum are partnering to host the Hall of Fame induction and a 3-day festival to celebrate this year's inductees. There will be multiple opportunities for visitors and locals to meet and interact with the Olympic Hall of Famers right here in Olympic City, USA. I'm also working to connect our city, which is the business hub of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic movement, with the two upcoming U.S. host cities, games, LA and Salt Lake City. So in touch with those mayors to ensure we can connect the business ecosystem with the these host cities. So there are many synergies to capitalize between all three cities in celebration of the Olympic Games. Number 4, on July 14th to the 27th, Colorado Springs will host the Department of Defense Warrior Games. The Warrior Games will showcase the resilience and the spirit of today's wounded, ill, and injured service members from across all branches of the military. This annual event has been held 5 times in Colorado Springs since it launched in 2010. This year's event will be held at Colorado College and will feature 200 warrior athletes. 1,200 family members, friends, and support staff will travel with the teams to Colorado Springs, and I'm personally looking forward to cheering on these service members, and I know that our proud military community will rally to support these incredible athletes in this important step of their recovery journey. Number 5, this is not an event, but this is a critical infrastructure that supports event, and this is our very own COS Airport. One of the reasons we're hosting more of these great events in our community than ever before is because of the growing service capability and convenience of the Colorado Springs Airport to include now nonstop routes out of the country to Mexico. So I hope I want to say join me in June 27th, but I don't know if I'm going to Mexico yet. But I need to convince my wife. We are celebrating the COS Airport as the official airport of the Space Symposium, the U.S. Senior Open, Warrior Games, and the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, and the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo. 2025 will mark the first time that the all Warrior Games participants and staff will fly through the best airport in the state. You know what I'm talking about, COS. So please fly COS. So in conclusion, in addition to generating excitement and fostering civic pride, these events are all important to our city for 5 reasons. Number 1, when visitors spend money in Colorado Springs, our local community, especially our local businesses, benefit. Number 2, tourism and large events support thousands of jobs in hospitality, event management, and facility operations. Number 3, these events help attract international visitors and puts our city on the global map. Number 4, these events unite fans and family members and community members over a shared passion and positively benefiting the mental well-being and health of our community. And number 5, as I mentioned earlier, tourism generates the essential tax revenues to help fund vital city services such as public safety, public infrastructure, and the maintenance of our parks without increasing the tax burden on residents. That's really key, without increasing the tax burden on residents. Furthermore, the lodgers and automobile rental tax, commonly known as LART, last year generated just over $10 million. Now, these funds go right back into the community to support regional tourism and to help drive our local economic activity. Again, tourism is critical to achieving our vision and our mission as a city. And I often talk about this vision of a world-class American city that is safe, economically prosperous, that is culturally rich, and welcoming, a vibrant, world-class American city. We have much to look forward to in 2025. And believe it or not, I barely scratched the surface of the number of events. In fact, tomorrow, there's the 3rd annual polo event will be held here in our community. So we're looking forward to celebrating that on Saturday, and the weather's amazing. That's 2 years in a row of amazing weather. And we'll be having actually a VIP event here tomorrow also as well at the Broadmoor. So just really thankful for the opportunity to live in an incredible city that not only hosts many of these events and give our residents an opportunity to really engage and foster civic pride, but also what these events mean in terms of city flourishing. So at that point, I am open to your questions. But before, I know our media partners have a lot more questions that are not related to these events. I'd love for you to start with questions that are related to these events, as I have some of these leaders here to help answer some of those questions as well. So please.
Mayor, I thought just to start us off, obviously we can see a trophy here tied to the U.S. Senior Open. Can you kind of explain, what the trophy is or what it's going to mean to the tournament coming up?
I'll have one of the U.S. Senior Open partners come and introduce your name when you. Yeah.
Hi, David Fox with the U.S. Senior Open. So this is the Charles Ouimet Trophy. We'll go to the winner, but I think we're just excited to be back at the Broadmoor. This will be the ninth championship here at the Broadmoor, and will be the third time hosting the Senior Open, which marks the most championships held by any venue here in the country. So I think it just speaks to the great city we have here in Colorado Springs and the support from the local entities. So looking forward to seeing everyone in June.
What makes the Broadmoor Golf Course so great to play and host a Senior Open like this? Great question.
Good question. So I think the USGA, a couple of things they look for is obviously the golf course, local support. I think you look past some of the past winners here at the Broadmoor, including Jack Nicklaus, Annika Sorenstam won their first majors here. It speaks to the quality of the golf course. Donald Ross design, a lot of history here as well. So just a great venue to host a USGA championship.
Any other event-related question? I have sports court, visit COS, Broadmoor team.
What does it mean for Colorado Springs to bring all these events in one summer economically, and what does it mean for surrounding businesses?
Yeah, let me focus on your last two words, surrounding businesses. It's a big deal. Your mayor is a small business owner. And what it means when if I put my small business lenses on, that is business. That is, small businesses are the backbone of our economy, and the struggle is real. And so having a summer of opportunities, especially bringing in a lot of visitors, equals new money and new opportunities. So I'm really thrilled for our local businesses, especially right now. Times are hard. Inflation is still a real thing, and many local businesses are struggling. Let me bridge now, put my mayor hat on. Our city revenues are struggling, if I'm being completely transparent. I became mayor at a time where we began to feel the impact of inflation, and my first year in office had to make the difficult decision of, what areas can we save, what can we cut, and having to dip into our reserves to ensure that we're able to still provide the critical services. Public safety is at the top of my list, and also our critical infrastructure as well. And then the second year, we had a similar challenge. We were able to carry savings from the first year to the second year, just being good stewards. So we're making do with what we have, but the dream and the idea of these events truly translate to new revenue that our city could use to ensure that we're keeping and maintaining Colorado Springs' status as the most desirable city in the United States, the most neighborly city in the United States, and also the third best city to live in the United States.
Do you foresee any more cuts maybe coming in the near future? What's 2025 look like in?
That's a great question, and because I'm a natural futurist, my mind is there already, and it's a conversation I am thinking about. But it's February. There's no alarm. There's no need to sound any alarm. It's actually, we don't even have enough data point to even make those determinations. As you know, and so in February, right now, we have the complete report of our December tax revenue. So we're about a month or two in terms of reporting behind. And so by come March and April, I'll have my first idea of how we're doing revenue-wise. So I am balancing that wisdom with also anticipating all these events that the Broadmoor and other partners are hosting that will translate to new revenue. And so I'm hoping it actually turns out to be a better year, especially with all these events that are going to be happening in Colorado Springs. So U.S. Senior Open, please don't disappoint, because I am depending on you guys for some of that opportunity. But know that your mayor is paying close attention to that.
And Mayor, playing off of local businesses, yesterday the Tejon Street revitalization project was just announced. Some citizens are really excited about it. Some are maybe concerned that money could be spent elsewhere and maybe used a little bit better. What's your comment to those citizens that are concerned, and do you feel like this could bring more people to downtown and bring in more money for those local businesses?
You just answered my question. Yeah, yes, we're excited about what critical infrastructure brings. It's not just about, one of the things too I've heard from many of our residents is the need to care for what we have. Our city is growing. Do we have the infrastructure to keep up with the growth of our city? This mayor is focused on that. There was a season where it was about catalytic growth. We needed the venues around town. We have that. We've transitioned from young people wanting to leave our city to, in 2023, Zillow named us the #1 city that college grads wanted to move to. Last year we were named the #3. So these days I talk to parents who say, I need to kick my 30-year-old from my basements. So find me a place for them to live. So housing is another critical infrastructure. So that's my leadership in this season, is making sure that we're investing in the infrastructure to keep up with the growth of our city. And so downtown is a thriving city. We anticipate the Tejon Street project creating more opportunities and bringing more residents. I know it's a disruption. It's a love-hate relationship. We're about to go into fixing pothole season, and I'm going to be hearing from residents that, Mayor, we got to fix our potholes, yes, but also comes with some disruption. And I asked our residents to just be patient with me and be patient with our team, be patient with the process. In the end, it's going to pay off. One of the lessons learned, I love to be vulnerable, one of the lessons learned from me, and something that I will make sure that my team is overemphasizing, is communication with our residents. The South Academy corridor road improvement we've been making, I don't believe we communicate as well with the business owners in that pocket of the community. Actually, let me rephrase that. Business owners sometimes can be hard to pin down. And so I know the team did their best to communicate with the businesses, but this time around with Tejon, I want to make sure that we go over and above what is expected of us to ensure that we are communicating with our business owners, not only the disruption, but also what this road project improvement could mean for the future success of their business as well.
How's the police force recruiting going? I know you gave the police department a little more money, trying to beef up the police staffing. Is that going in the right direction? I know we'll never get to 100%, but how is the recruiting?
That's a great question. I decided 2 days ago that I kind of I want to be known as a public safety mayor. That's a couple, and how I got to this is I got criticized by a couple of residents that said, how come all you focus on is public safety? And I often say a safe city is a great city. A great city is a safe city. So expect more push in that arena. And some of that, I feel like I've been telling my own personal stories a little bit more these days, but some of that is very personal. Growing up in a world that public safety wasn't a priority and not having a department you could call on for help. And that makes me emotional when I think about a specific story of being robbed in daylight and not really having anybody to ask for help. And then you have women and men who, the best of our community, who sign up to do that for us so that we can all sleep at night. that is a big deal. I'm proud to report that we're inching closer and closer to full strength of the 839 officers we need. We're going to be graduating a few more next week, so we're celebrating that. That would put us, right now we're about 788 of the 839 officers, the full authorized strength that we need. So we're inching closer and closer, I can't wait for that day when we celebrate that, because we haven't had that since 2019. So it's going to be a big day when we're able to say we're at full strength. I have hired close to 200 officers since I started in June 2023. That's a lot. And so we are prioritizing hiring the best. We're also prioritizing the training of our officers, as the report still shows that 80% of them are asking for advanced training so that they can do the job of keeping you and I safe. And that's where the new public safety complex comes into that conversation. And I'm pleased to report that things are in motion with regard to that initiative that I came out of the bat swinging when I first became mayor.
With all these big events coming this summer, is the city doing anything different? You mentioned safety. Is there going to be more security involved, or?
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe one of the from our standpoint, my team has been meeting with the Broadmoor team. In fact, I think close to the last 2 years. When you're talking that level of large scale event, safety is at the top of our minds, and I know that because I know the head of security for Broadmoor, and he updates me on this work that they've been doing for a while. It's that important. In terms of the specifics, I cannot speak to what each meeting has entailed, but I know that we have a wonderful team between the Broadmoor and the city of Colorado Springs that are on top of it.
I was looking for a quick comment about Black History Month. It's almost over.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel like Colorado Springs has been well represented, and what have your thoughts been so far this month?
Yeah, I feel like Colorado Springs has done a good job with it. It's an interesting time because our new president, President Trump, not so new president, our returning president, did sign a proclamation about Black history, but some of the specific government entities are doing away with some of those acknowledgement. Here in Colorado Springs, your mayor does not isolate Black history, women's history coming up. We will celebrate all the great American holidays, including May is Older Americans Month. May is Foster Care Month. I'm an adoptive. My family and I we adopted my oldest from Ethiopia, so we'll be celebrating that. May is also Mental Health Month, and so we believe in celebrating all the great American holidays that make our country what it is. And so we did that with Black History Month. I did a joint proclamation with City Council. I gave remarks. It's a powerful reminder as the first elected Black and immigrant mayor of what makes America so great. We don't celebrate that enough. I know we often focus on the work that is still to be done, and that is true, but we must focus on the work that has been done, because it's in there we can build upon and become even greater. I think about in 1960, it would have been improbable, even possible for someone like me to be a mayor of a top 50 U.S. city. What other country in the world hang with me, this is what makes the United States so great. What other country in the world can somebody with my story and profile become a mayor in a large city? I can't think of any other country. We are the ultimate melting pot. We do welcome the diversity of ideas and people, and I'm a living testimony and proof of that when Dr. King said, I have this dream where one day my 4 daughters will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I got elected not because of the color of my skin, but the content of my character and the things that I've done in this community. I also happen to be black. And that was not an obstacle for this city. And the only 6%, in the terms of the demographic, 6% of African Americans that live in this great city of ours. So I feel like Colorado Springs is telling a great story, is telling a new story. And I know other people are watching, people are interested in my story, they're interested in the story of Colorado Springs. And so there's just so much to celebrate around black history. And the last thing I would say is that I also recognize that I didn't get here alone. I sit and stand on the shoulders of giants of generations of white, black, and brown leaders before me who helped pave the way for my own success.
Mayor, when we talk about revenue and budget specifically, we wanted to ask, is the city currently at risk of losing any federal funding or losing
Great question.
With the Trump federal freeze held up in the court?
Were you at my last meeting? I did. My most senior-most team is my chief of staff and my two deputy chief of staff. And I just met with them before this press conference, and that was at the top of our list. I asked them for a full report on the impacts of the budget cuts in Colorado Springs. I know a couple of critical areas for my department is the Metro Transit. There's probably a dozen to half a dozen of a dozen to 2 dozen of our team members are funded federally. I don't believe we've felt the impact there yet. Our HUD funding, housing and urban development, I am concerned about that with regards to our ability to invest in affordable housing project and also help with our homeless challenges. The big one on the news right now has to do with the U.S. Forest Department. I have asked for a report from my parks and team to see if there's been any impact on America's Mountain. It's the most iconic mountain, not just for us locally, but in the entire country. Second most visited mountain in the world, and I want to have a full understanding of that. The good news, this is actually exciting. The good news is that I made contact with the White House last week. I had a great relationship with the previous administration, the IGA office. This is the White House Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, and this is the office that connects the mission of the executive branch with local municipalities and state government. And one of my first priorities, as you've heard me say, is to have great relationship with all levels of government, because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And I want my city to benefit from that great relationship. It's why I had planned to attend President Trump's inauguration, then it got moved inside. Unfortunately, even though I had a VIP seated tickets, they were not good enough to get me inside. But serendipitously, been able to connect with that office, and I was one of the first mayors out of 19,000 mayors in the country that they were able to connect with. Two things came out of that meeting, and I will be meeting with them in March, also at the White House. I'll be at the White House in March. But two things came up from that meeting. One was they said, Mayor, would you be willing to share your cell phone number? I said, absolutely. They said, the president likes to cut through all the middle people. If he needs to get a hold of, if he's interested in Colorado Springs and needs to get a hold of someone, he's going to call you directly. So I provided my cell phone, and 30 minutes later, I got a text from one of the deputy director of the office. The second thing that came out of that meeting, and this goes to your question, was they said, Mayor, would you give us timely feedback on the impact of some of the White House decision in your city? And I said, absolutely. I want to be the city that's giving you timely feedback of the impact of some of these decisions. And so we've made that contact. We have a direct end. We'll be monitoring the impact of all the cuts on our local economy.
Kind of in line with that, are there any recent executive orders signed by Trump that you were in favor of or in support of that you've kept a close eye on?
Oh, that's a great question. If I try to keep track of everything that's happening in the White House, I probably won't get anything done. But I do have a great team, and we're all keeping track of it. One of the things and this is what I told the deputy director, Christine, at the call. I said, as one who came from the business community, now in government, as one who is getting to look at the city finances, and $428 million in the general fund doesn't go it's not a lot. We have to balance our budget. And that's what, as mayors, we do. There's been no expectation of the feds to do that. I like the pursuit of government efficiency. I think this is our money. And we entrust public servants with our money. And so in many ways, in terms of the overall scope of government needs to be more efficient, I actually like that. And it's also had me also thinking locally, how can we too be efficient? And those are some of the things we've been doing from day one, partly because we're limited in our budget. And so we've had to rearrange operations just to become more efficient as opposed to add in new. So for example, let me give you an example. With our cleanup crew, we've expanded from 1 to 2 teams. We need more equipment. Instead of giving that division new equipment, we've said, what department has equipment? Public Works. Now we've put the quality of life team in close proximity with Public Works so that they can share the use of equipment as opposed to add in new. So government efficiency is a good thing.
Okay.
I just have one final
Yes.
question, separate topic though. I know you've been pretty vocal in the past. Just current thoughts on the recreational marijuana measure failing in the courts. What are your thoughts?
I'm surprised. I was expecting that question sooner, so I actually appreciate that question. I know our news media partners, everyone's paying attention. The city is paying attention. I've been vocal that I believe recreational marijuana, the ability, given easier access to it, it's a bad deal for our community. I am concerned for our youth. I'm concerned. We're a military community. The feds pay attention to those type of decisions. Some of it is personal. My kid's about to go to middle school, and I'm already hearing that has made its way to middle school, and it is a gateway drug. We've been able to, Colorado Springs has been able to achieve all these accolades that I mentioned without it. Why do I want to test what our city looks like with it? That said, we're here today. I also respect the will of the voters. I love democracy. I love that there's a process. It's not the process that I want. It's not really, but I also respect the will of the voters. I will just giving you an update. We do have 85 medical. We don't know if all 85 are eligible for retail. As you know, they have to be 1,000 feet away from daycares and schools and some of these other measures, which I'm glad we have in place, and my council colleague to get a lot of credit for that. I do know there's been 35 applications so far as of last Friday for retail. We are in the middle of asked my team to start to do some estimate in terms of what that tax dollars, that revenues, what we'll get in 2025 and 2026. I've been clear that because I'm most concerned, my biggest concern around retail marijuana has to do with public safety. And it's my intent to use as much of those tax revenues to reinvest in our public safety efforts. And the last thing I would say about this is in 2017, there was an effort where we put into law putting caps on the number of shops that could be in Colorado Springs. So in 2017, I believe we had 132. And so when one closes, it resets the cap. And so today we have 85. And if another one closes, the cap becomes 84. I celebrate the wisdom of leaders before me who are able to do that, because while we have in our community, I still believe we're faring better than many communities. Not to pick on my fellow city, Denver, but their cap is about 467. And we have a bigger footprint than Denver does. So it's here. We're trying to deal with this new reality. I never thought I'd be the mayor I didn't see that coming. But understand that a lot of whatever revenue the city will get from that will be reinvested in the safety of our community. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah. And Jack, thank you for hosting. Yeah.